Hello, I'm Dr. Marianne Simon, and I'm honored to be considered for the role of Superintendent of St. Johns County Schools. With 26 years in education as a teacher, school leader, and district administrator, I've seen the power of public education transforming lives. Thank you to the St. Johns County School Board for naming me a semifinalist. I'm excited for the opportunity to serve a district with such a strong legacy and help lead it to even greater success. As superintendent, one of my top priorities would be ensuring that every student in St. Johns County has access to a high-quality teacher. Recruiting and retaining great educators is the cornerstone of student success and one of the most important investments we can make. Strong teachers shape school culture, drive student success, and build lasting trust with families. That's why we need a proactive, people-centered strategy. It starts with strong pipelines. I've partnered with the University of North Florida to host observation students, T-cell candidates, and interns, creating a natural bridge to employment. I also support expanding future educator academies, much like those already in place at several of our high schools, and aligning them with university pathways so we can grow our own talent right here in St. Johns County. We must also support alternative pathways. I've worked with principals to identify paraprofessionals and career changers who show strong potential. With the right guidance and support, many have earned certification and are now thriving in our schools. Of course, recruitment also means offering competitive salaries, targeted stipends for hard-to-fill roles, and exploring housing and relocation supports so educators can live and grow in the communities they serve. But retention is just as important, and that starts with providing support and a strong culture. The way educators feel about where they work, whether they feel valued, heard, and connected, has a far greater impact on retention than any single program or incentive. This year, I launched a mentorship program called UNF Alumni Connections, which pairs new teachers with experienced mentors to help build some of those important connections. I also prioritize gathering teacher feedback during professional learning. When teachers see that their voice matters, they're more likely to stay and lead from within. And we need to share those voices. There's real power in storytelling. When current educators share why they love working in St. John's, it builds pride internally and sends a strong message to future candidates. Just recently, I spoke with an amazing St. Johns County teacher who told me that even as the district grows, it still feels warm, friendly, and like home. That kind of culture is something worth protecting and promoting. I appreciate that the district already highlights its staff through Feature Friday spotlights. I'd love to build on that by adding short video clips or sound bites where staff can share in their own words why they love working in St. John's. These authentic voices are powerful tools for recruitment and powerful reminders for those already here of why they chose St. John's in the first place. St. Johns County has a proud tradition of excellence. As superintendent, I will make it my mission to attract, grow, and retain the very best educators, because when we support our teachers, we elevate our entire district. Next, choosing a principal is more than just filling a position. It's a strategic investment in the success of an entire school community. Principals influence everything from instructional quality and staff culture to parent engagement and student outcomes. That's why my approach to principal selection is collaborative and tailored to the specific needs of each school while staying aligned to the district's long-term goals. The process starts with stakeholder input. I engage teachers, staff, parents, and when appropriate, students to identify the leadership qualities most important to their school. Through surveys, we build a leadership profile that reflects the school's values and priorities. That profile becomes our lens as we evaluate candidates, not just for experience, but for alignment and fit. Once candidates are selected, I bring together a diverse interview panel of school-based stakeholders. They ask a common set of questions, provide thoughtful feedback, and play a key role in informing the final decision. This step not only improves the process, it reinforces trust by ensuring those closest to the school have a voice in the decision. The final phase is an interview with me and cabinet members, including human resources. We focus on 2 key areas: proven instructional leadership and measurable results, looking at how candidates have improved teaching, built strong teams, and impacted student achievement and school climate. All feedback gathered throughout the process is carefully reviewed and used to make a final, informed decision about the best principal for the school. I also recognize that leadership needs vary by school level. At the elementary level, I prioritize early literacy, family engagement, and nurturing leadership. In K-8 settings, we need leaders who can manage continuity across a broader developmental span. In middle schools, it's about understanding adolescents and building strong behavior systems. And in high schools, we need visionary leaders who understand college and career readiness, CTE programs, complex scheduling, and how to align instruction to post-secondary success. When it comes to leadership transitions, I lead with fairness and a student-centered mindset. I never rush to replace a leader, but if there are ongoing concerns like student achievement, poor climate data, inconsistent implementation of district initiatives, or failure to follow safety protocols, I begin with targeted support and coaching. If there's no progress or ownership and student success or safety is at risk, a change may be necessary. School leadership is one of the most powerful forces for positive change in education. When we place the right leader in the right school, we set the stage for every student to feel seen, supported, and inspired to thrive every single day, in every classroom, and across every corner of our district. Finally, in a fast-growing, high-performing district like St. Johns County, communication is essential. It builds trust, promotes transparency, and aligns our efforts. As superintendent, I believe clear, timely, and responsive communication is key to effective leadership in a united school community. That's why I would implement a comprehensive, 2-way communication plan that goes beyond announcements or updates. My goal is to ensure every stakeholder feels informed and meaningfully engaged in the work we're doing across St. Johns County. This plan would be anchored in 3 core areas. First, clear and accessible communication channels. We need consistent, user-friendly tools like newsletters, real-time dashboards, and social media to keep families, staff, and the community informed. These tools must be timely and easy to access. Second, 2-way engagement. Communication should include listening as much as sharing. I would hold regular listening sessions, open forums, and school visits to gather authentic feedback. More importantly, we would act on that input because when people feel heard and see their voices reflected in decisions, it builds trust and connection. Third, purpose-driven messaging. All communication should reinforce our strategic priorities. We'll celebrate progress, acknowledge areas for improvement, and explain the why behind our key initiatives with clarity and honesty. Communication must also be tailored by the audience. For the school board, I'd provide regular briefing memos and one-on-one meetings to build relationships, understand priorities, and address concerns early. With district staff, I'd lead consistent department meetings and recognize collective efforts to keep morale and collaboration high. For school-based staff, I'd establish an advisory council that includes representatives from various roles and highlight the innovative work and dedication happening throughout our schools. Principals and school leaders would meet with me monthly, whole group, and in cohorts of about 8 schools, a model I currently use to foster collaboration and growth. These smaller groups create a space for personal connection, celebrating successes, and addressing concerns directly. Students would continue to have a strong voice through SuperSAC, and I'll ensure we're using communication platforms that reach and resonate with them. For parents and families, I'll prioritize mobile-friendly, multilingual communication and listening sessions to better understand their needs and experiences. And with the media and community partners, I'll focus on proactive, transparent outreach, sharing both key information and the many success stories happening in our schools. In a district as dynamic as St. Johns County, communication must be clear, consistent, and inclusive. My commitment is to lead with purpose and openness so that every stakeholder, from students and teachers to families and board members, feels connected to the work we're doing together. Because when communication is strong, trust is strong, and that's how we move the district forward.